Hello, everyone.
Hey, what? One sec, Tara. One sec.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. All right, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to Community Cooking with the Co-op. I'm Paul Addis. I'm a librarian at the Coos Bay Public Library. And with me tonight are my partners at the Co-op, Tim Bolster, the outreach coordinator at Coos Head Food Co-op here in Coos Bay. And we have Alan Bartle, our cameraman behind the counter. And tonight we're excited to introduce a new cook, Tara Cridland, who does all kinds of things in the community. She's is it a spirituality teacher and mentor? Did I get that right, Tara?
I am an embodiment coach and spirituality teacher, and what that means, and I'm also a holistic nutrition coach. So I'm a certified holistic nutrition coach. What I do is I actually teach people how to connect to their bodies via doing types of nervous system regulation, gentle trauma release, and learning how to release a lot of poor or non-serving beliefs that have been running your life so that you can feel really deeply balanced, regulated in your body, and start to create really healthy, interdependent relationships with yourself and others. And then once that starts to happen, then I help you develop your own unique connection to what you feel like is your own spirituality, whatever that looks like for you. And the reason why I got into that is because through diet, nutrition, I've been working with the body for 25 years through massage, yoga, embodiment coaching. I am actually a certified trauma-informed coach. So that is a big part of that is actually really proper nutrition. If we can have nutrient-dense food, we actually can help to regulate our systems even more. So that's really important to know. So welcome. I'm excited to do this with all of you.
And real quickly, I'd just like to add that Tara's also does a lot of volunteering for the library and the community. She volunteers at her community fridge. She's recently taught a yoga class for the library, and she's helped with other programs and stuff. So I just want to thank her for that as well. And it's all yours, Tara. Oh, and if people have questions, feel free to respectfully unmute or throw them in chat and I'll feed them to Tara. It's all yours, Tara. Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. So the first thing I'm going to have us all do before we start cooking everything up is the pot that you're going to use to saute your vegetables and make the curry in. Go ahead and turn it on so the pot has a chance to warm up. So I would put it at if you have an electric stove, which most of you do, then go ahead and turn it on. Perfect. Put it on like a medium to low or medium heat, not too high. And then what we're going to do is actually cook the rice first because that needs to sit and basically simmer for a little while. So for the benefit of this class tonight, I normally rinse my rice. You don't have to. The difference between rinsed rice and unrinsed rice is if you don't rinse it, you're going to have a higher content of starch. So if you like your rice nice and sticky and starchy, then you don't rinse it. I know a lot of people are like, ew, rinse it. But if you rinse it, you're rinsing a lot of the starches off, which then actually lowers maybe the sugar content for you. A little trick though, if you actually put it in the fridge overnight and then reheat it the next day, it actually lowers the sugars in it so that you don't get that sugar spike for all of you that are working on keeping your blood sugars regulated. So nice. The way we're going to do that, you're going to go ahead and turn on. Now, if you have not cooked rice before, because we're doing a pot and I'm doing it in a class, I usually do my little knuckle trick, but you're going to do 2 parts water to 1 part rice. So the way we start that is we're going to go ahead and turn your pot on high, put 2 cups of water into boil. So I'm going to do that with you.
Everybody wants to boil 2 cups of water in your pot.
So we're going to do 2 cups in the pan. I got my trusty assistant, so 1. All right, so 2 cups of water, and this is just because I'm assuming you're cooking for yourself. If you happen to be cooking for other people, then you can do 4 cups of water to 2 cups of rice, and they'll give you more rice. So from here, you're just going to turn that on and let it start to boil. So that's why we're going to just get it all going at the same time.
Cool.
So let that go ahead and start boiling. We're not going to add the rice till the actual water boils. While we're waiting for that. So again, having your other pan heating up, that's really important because a lot of times people don't realize that if we don't heat our pans appropriately, that's when our food sticks to the pan. So you want to actually heat it up and get it nice and heated through. So
and we're heating that empty right now, right, Tara?
We're heating it empty. So the pan that's going to have the curry in it is going to be empty, heating up. And the other pan is water that's going to start to boil.
Perfect.
One of the things I'm going to invite you to do now, I did 2 cloves of garlic in the recipe, but if you're a garlic lover like me, do you like lots of garlic?
I do like garlic.
Okay, so if you're a garlic lover, then you can actually do more than 2 cloves. So I just did it because I'm trying to err on the side of not so over spice for those who are not really a fan of big spice. So if you like a lot of spice, you can feel free to add more ginger. You're free to add more garlic, and you're also free to add even more curry if that feels good for you. So I just wanted to err on the side of being conscientious of those that maybe are not such a spice lover.
Yeah.
Can I have the compost?
Yes, you can.
Sounds good.
Or maybe can't handle so much spice. So it's free. So I'm going to take out, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to chop the garlic yet, but I'm going to take it out and I'm going to smash it.
All
So
right.
How many cloves do you think you're going to do right
I'll
now?
do 4.
4.
So I'm doing 4 cloves. I just want to get them off before I was talking. So I'm going to do 4 cloves. So an easy way to do this is you just take your knife sideways, do the fattest part, just smash it.
Nice.
Once you smash it, it should just peel pretty easy. Then you should be able to take that off really quick. So if you could.
Let's stress out.
So,
Snake
yeah,
out.
exactly. You're like, the reason why I'm doing this ahead of time is because you actually want to let your garlic smash and sit for a few minutes. That's what actually releases that, I think it's called alanine. It's a special enzyme and chemical in your garlic that when it's activated, it increases all of the antioxidants. It's an antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial. So you want to smash it because that actually allows that part or that compound in the garlic to start to release. If you just chop it right away, it doesn't release the same. So just a little trick for if you want to get maximum health benefits.
So I'm guessing my jar of pre-minced garlic is not.
It's still useful, but it probably has lost its
would
potency.
assume,
Yeah. So that's why I'm a big fan of fresh garlic. Now,
This is locally grown garlic. This is from Myrtle Glen
I know,
Farm.
it's how-
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Myrtle
So
Glen's great.
don't tell it's good garlic because it's really sticky on the fingers.
Purple Myrtle
And-
Glen garlic.
Kara, really quick, because somebody just logged on that I think is going to be cooking. Can you remind her what the 2 pots on the stove are doing?
Absolutely. So you're going to get a smaller pot. You're going to get a smaller pot for your rice. You want to go ahead and put 2 cups of water in there with a lid and put that on high to boil the water.
And then what about the other one?
Warming up.
Yeah. And then the other pot, go ahead and turn it on. And this is going to be your simmering pot that we're going to actually make the curry in. So
Right
that's
now,
what we're going to.
It's at a medium heat. Nothing's in it. We're just warming it up,
Perfect.
getting it prepared. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
like having the sous chef. This is awesome.
Isn't it? Put
Normally,
him to work.
I know I'm not working
I love
too
it.
hard
I
yet.
love it. All right, so I just wanted to get that. I'm going to move that over there just because it was the most. So I'm going to set those off to the side. So if you just logged on, what I did is I smashed and just peeled the garlic, and then I'm going to let them just sit here and let that chemical compound. And I want to say, hold on, I actually have it on my little notes.
Sure.
Made little notes just in case.
4 cloves or 2 cloves or whatever you want.
Two to 4.
Sitting unminced.
2 if you want less spice, 4 if you want more, right?
Got it. We're on this.
Yes, I was right. So allicin is the compound in the garlic that when it's released actually helps to increase your immune system. It actually helps to get rid of any viruses, bacteria. This is really great. This is why garlic is so important when you're sick. You can make onion garlic soup and that'll help you so much. Onions actually contain an ingredient called quercetin. Quercetin is really high in antioxidants. It's also considered a superfood, and when you saute it, it releases it even more. And this also helps with your blood sugars, your digestion, as well as increasing your immune system. So these are all really powerful and potent superfoods.
Awesome.
Nice.
So from here, we're just gonna peel this onion. So kind of don't like that one.
Let's try this one. I always forget which one's sharp. So
That's okay.
it's a dangerous game we're playing.
Yeah, if you're not this kind of adult, be careful. Now here's my little cheater. If you want to peel your onion faster, just chop it in half. That way you can just grab it and peel it really easy. And you're gonna get that hard outer shell out.
You want me to use the other one? Do you want me to work on that one?
You can.
Sure. Yeah.
You don't really need that much onion, but if
Oh,
you
we
want a
don't.
lot,
Okay.
but if you want a lot, you're welcome to it.
We'll save half an onion
All right.
for the future. What about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Here, give me that.
Yes.
Yay. And of course, have fun. Onion is messy. That's the way it is.
Are
Don't
we
rub your eyes.
chopping it into little pieces, onion?
Yes. So thank you, Jean. So you're gonna actually take it, and now if you're someone who's not really hasn't cooked a lot, if you're someone who is kind of following along, and you want a little cheater way to do this, you're gonna actually cut kind of like bite-sized pieces, but don't cut all the way through. Leave a little tiny, so if you see, I left a little.
Right down. There we go.
There we go. I left a little bit there. The reason why, and I'll show you why you do this. Okay, so you're gonna do that, and you could have nice little bite-sized chunks. It's not gonna be teeny tiny, because this is a nice chunky kind of recipe. So kind of open it. So what that does is it allows you to then chop it without it falling apart or sliding.
Sure.
So this is like a little hack.
That is always frustrating to me. I try and keep it all together and then it starts sticking to the blade and falling apart.
Exactly. So once you get to that, and of course, cut it carefully. Once you get there, then you can chop.
Now, people at home, their water might be boiling. Is this a good time to throw the rice in?
Let me check. Yeah, almost. So it's almost boiling. So if you want to check your water. Now, if you're cutting, you might want to be doing this, right? So we don't want to be, so yeah, so we're going to do that. So you're not going to hold your onion like this. You're going to hold it with your fingers curled in, because this kind of keeps you from accidentally taking parts of your finger off.
Keep those digits.
I've done that.
Yeah, me too. I actually was cutting kale once and I didn't realize it, and the middle finger was there, and I went, shh, I feel like that went through my finger.
Yikes.
And it did.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that cut aside. And the reason why I'm starting to cut these up is once we start to add it to the pan, it's going to go pretty quickly. So I always like to pre-chop my veggies.
Sure.
Carrots are happening right now.
Carrots are really dense, and so are potatoes. So most likely what I'm going to do is encourage you to cut the denser ones and start cooking those kind of first. We can actually add the, you know what, we can add the potatoes after the onion and garlic, because I'm going to put in the broth and we'll let it simmer. Now, for the purpose of helping this move along a little faster. Yeah, that's good. All right, so we're going to add, so check your water. If your water's boiling, mine is starting to boil now. You're going to do 1 cup of rice. So we have it all.
1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water.
Yeah, so 2 cups water, whoops, 1 cup rice. Kind of sprinkle that in there. All right. Sir, just kind of give it a little,
Around a little
just to make
Take
sure
it
that
little.
it's got, yeah, actually, where did I start?
There's a replacement one.
Yeah, just to get it so that all the water's between all of the rice and you're not going to have like a clump of rice. Once you do that, bring it down to like a medium heat. So it's going to simmer but not boil so much that it boils over. So you just need to have the heat. It's going to cook then. So go ahead, add your rice. It's going to cook for about 18, 20 minutes when you do it on the stove top. But you can keep an eye on it, because once it absorbs all the water, and you can even taste the rice towards the end, and if it has that perfect consistency for you, then it's done.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think Jane has a question, Tara.
Yeah.
Putting salt in it, love?
If you want to, but not everyone likes, because we're going to have curry. So you might not want to, just because it might oversalt your food.
Personal preference.
Totally personal. If you love a lot of salt, salt's away.
Sure, sure.
So what I'm doing now is I'm going to chop these. I kind of cut the thicker part in half because I wanted more bite-sized pieces.
Sure.
We're going to take,
Working through the carrots, right?
and we're going to chop the carrots. Make sure that you cut them at a nice thickness, but not so thick that they won't cook quickly.
Sure.
So that's my little hack, is you want to do them thin enough to cook, but not so thick that they take forever. So just going to cook like this.
Cool.
Nice technique.
So the reason why I got good at cooking is because, like I said earlier, I have celiac disease. And it turns out that everything has gluten or has a mixed kitchen somewhere. And so I learned how to cook really well for myself. That way I don't miss going out.
There you go.
Now downfall is my partner had to leave town for a week, and he called, and all he could complain about is that no good food was to be had. So So again, I just cut the thickest. Now this one's bigger, so I'm going to cut this one again. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We are not a restaurant. You're not going to get a Michelin star unless you want to give yourself one. So you're just going to cut these again, just making them kind of a bite size, something that's going to cook easy. And I just love to pre-cook, especially if you're doing a cooking class and follow along. You feel like you get behind if you're trying to chop everything in real time. It's so much easier when I'm just going to set my timer just to remind myself to look. So if you didn't set your timer, probably do like 17 minutes just to be checking.
Oh, for the rice. That's right.
For the rice, yeah.
So we got a timer going for you.
I'm remembering now how to work on instructing you because I'm normally in the kitchen just doing this by myself.
Sure.
So if I go back and I forget things, I will definitely remind you because as I hit my own steps, I go, oh wait, yeah, you need to know that stuff too. So again, just chopping this up. Now, if you have a stainless steel pan, the way you know that your pan is fully heated, so you can flick some water on it. And if the water starts to bead up and roll around like little beads, you're at the perfect temperature.
Perfect.
If you have a no stick, it'll just be no stick. You'll be good. But it still wants to be hot.
Sure. Cool.
All right. So, gonna get those chopped. Now,
It's time for the secret ginger technique.
yes. So I'm gonna chop these and set off the side. So, but he's so excited. So I'm going to teach you a technique on how to peel ginger. So maybe some of you might know this, but some of you may not. I actually learned this trick from my daughter who used to work at a raw food restaurant. So with this again, these ones are kind of a medium size.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to cut it in thirds. Then I'm going to cut it in half. So
Probably a similar idea, right? Like
similar idea,
big enough
bite-sized
that
pieces.
it's bite-sized, but not so big that it's going to take a long time.
Exactly. And the reason why we want to do bite size for these more dense vegetables is, again, they take a long time to cook if they are too big.
Totally.
Now, if you have an Instant Pot, you can chop these up only half and stick them in the Instant Pot for 3 minutes and you have perfect potatoes.
Yeah, the Instant Pot's pretty great, isn't it? For rice, too, actually. We're getting all our rice.
I make rice in 13 minutes. I had to remind myself how to cook rice on the stovetop. It's been so long.
Yeah, all this cutting we're doing is good because nothing feels worse than when you put the first vegetables in and then they're ready and you haven't cut the next thing yet, and then you're like stressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this, because if I'm at home too, I'll start to do the onions and they kind of start cooking kind of quickly, and I'm over here cooking, and next thing I know, my onions are ready for the next bit and I haven't done it. And so I've always learned that, especially as a single mom for a lot of years, is if you pre-cut everything, now you just get to focus on adding your ingredients.
Yeah.
So that's why we're just chopping everything up now.
Makes sense.
Getting it ready. That way, when I say add, you don't have to worry about like, oh gosh, I forgot to add this. I forgot to chop this.
Sure.
A little bit of smaller ones. I'm just doing it half and then little bite-sized pieces. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be pretty hearty, it looks like.
Oh, it's so good.
Yum.
Since apparently, just for all of you, this recipe must have been ordained today because a fog rolled in and it went from being beautiful to cold. So this will be a perfect end of your day.
Nice.
Yeah, right now?
Yes, it just rolled in.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Well, I live in a house, so I live in a round. I thought it was unique, but I'm not the only round house here. Apparently, there's one over off of 10th Street somewhere. I live in a round house, and I overlook from the top of the hill. I can see the ocean, and I just watched these big clouds and this fog roll, and I said, but it was so beautiful.
I'm sure it was.
That's beautiful. That is.
So I think that happened so you guys would all love the warmth of this food.
Yes, this is good.
Exactly.
Winter food.
It is. This is a great winter meal. So pumpkin, the reason why I picked pumpkin, not only is it delicious, it's so good for you. How many of you, and you can do a little show of hands if you want to share, how many of you have dogs? So if you have dogs, okay, so if you don't, that's fine. It's good for us too. But
Maybe we have a cat crowd tonight.
okay, but you know what? I think cats can have it too, but let me double check. Don't feed your cat pumpkin unless you check.
Yeah, no, yeah, be sure.
Yeah.
Because what's good for the poochie is not good for the kitty.
Yeah,
So
true.
not all. So basically, pumpkin is really full of all kinds, thank you, sir. It's full of all kinds of amazing enzymes, and it is so good for your digestion. Pumpkin's really low in calorie, but really high in nutrient density. So it has a lot of vitamin A to it. It has a lot of antioxidants to it. So I'm going to treat, I'm going to do big chunks of the garlic to get started.
Okay, so chopping the garlic now.
So you're doing big chunks, and then once you do that, then you can take your knife and you just start to take it up
kind
and
of mincing,
kind of like rocking it. Now, if you love chunky garlic, leave your garlic chunky. But for the benefit of getting enough equally for people who are going to enjoy this after I'm done, I'm going to make sure it's more evenly distributed in my meal. So this is a nice way to chop your garlic. I usually tend to just kind of keep bringing it back together in a pile. And you just really want to, oops.
So we have a few comments on the, oh, Jennifer, were you going to say something?
It's okay.
Okay.
We're good.
Cool. Somebody asked, will the recipe with the exact measurements be available on the website once the video is posted?
I can send that to you tonight when I get home for
cool.
you.
Yeah, I can. Once I get that from Tara, I can post it on the library's YouTube channel with the recipe.
I'll be happy to do that. I'll write out the exact measurements, and then I'll write the instructions on how to do it as well.
Perfect. Thanks,
that way,
Tara.
if you want to just follow along, that I'm good at.
Jennifer G said cats can have pumpkin, which reminded me that my cat loves pumpkin, especially the puree, especially the puree out of the can. But then Julia mentioned that Julia said dogs can only have a small amount or they'll get the run. So keep that warning.
It depends on the dog. I had a Corso Mastiff, and he's people have a pretty, and I usually just would mix it in his meal once a day, but he would love raw pumpkin. He just bake, but it's really good for their skin. So if they have skin conditions, it can actually help to alleviate some of those uncomfortable skin conditions, as well as help with their belly. But that's the same for us humans. So pumpkin actually helps with your gut. It helps to aid you in digestion. For all of you that are going to be partaking in this tonight, your belly's going to be really happy, and you will probably clear out tomorrow. It's going to really help your belly to digest and clean out. But you're not going to be running. It'll just giving you a heads up. Okay. That you'll be very well working by the time you're done with this nice recipe.
I'm glad we're discussing this before everybody eats.
Yes, this is important information. So,
it is true.
All right.
Okay, so what's next?
So the next
got everything
thing is,
chopped up here.
Okay, so the way I sometimes check my rice is you can take the lid and just spin it, and it takes all the little water off so that you can look in there. So already it's looking good. Let's see, here's my spoon.
Using the spoon.
So I'm gonna just check it. Look at that, it's already looking lovely.
Sounds like Sarah's cat likes pumpkin too. What was that, Jennifer?
Do we have anything in the pan that's heating up that's making my house like almost 100 degrees?
You're gonna add oil. So now that it's nice and good, add oil. Yeah.
So I don't believe it. I'm sweating.
Yeah, because in my kitchen, I have, like I said, I have a round house. Once I start cooking, it's so much. All right, from here.
Jennifer's in California, and I think it's like 80 some degrees there.
Where are you?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so go ahead and add your onion.
Okay. Perfect.
So you're gonna start the onion, add that, and this is why we've got almost everything done. And you can actually add a little bit of the carrots too, because mine got mixed together. So.
Okay.
Carrots will take a while.
Yeah, carrots take a while, so it's fine. So you can get them started. All right. It doesn't get that hot.
It's not as powerful as the stove top.
And I just want to remind everybody to please send me pictures of your completed meals. You guys all have my email address in your Zoom confirmations. So if you remember, before you start eating your meal, take a pic and email it to me.
All right.
Did you want the garlic in there yet?
Not yet.
Oh, no.
So we just did the carrots and the onion. I'm actually going to switch this, I think. All right, we're switching just because the pot doesn't seem to be all that hot on that side.
So Tara, did you put everything in there but?
Not yet. So what I did is I just did the onion and the carrots. We're just going to saute those for right now.
Okay, onions and carrots.
Yeah.
Nope, the other one. Oh. All right, here's my little trick. To peel ginger, you take a regular spoon, if you want to bring it down. Yeah. You take a regular spoon and you take the edge of it and you just scrape.
Oh,
Scrape. See? And
that
boom.
looks like it works pretty dang well.
And boom. Like you literally can peel your garlic in no time.
Awesome.
Ginger.
I mean, yeah, sorry, ginger. Garlic, ginger. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen.
It's a little different spice.
Yeah, slightly. Although if you add enough of both, it's pretty hot. So thank you. So yeah, Tim's gonna be my sous chef stirring for me.
Yeah.
I did turn it over.
Right.
We
Transfer
switched.
to stove.
We might have to transfer to the stove because our little hot plate thing
The
is not
legend
really.
that could hot plate is
It's not
doing
really
its
engine
best.
pudding. So we might have to take this over, which is actually a good reason. All right. So see how fun that was.
Cordelia said, wow, excellent ginger hack.
Yes, it's really fun. I was actually on a retreat and there was this lovely woman that I had made good friends with, and she's from Jamaica, and she's like, I need your help. I said, what? She's trying to make us a ginger tea. And I came over with that and she's like, well, that was easy. Okay, so he's going to, we'll follow it over. First, I'm going to chop the ginger. All right. Our little plate here is apparently losing its steam, so
That's
Tara,
okay.
I'm cheating and using ginger paste. Is that
That's
okay?
fine. That's fine.
Do it.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Because you're here.
So I'm going to put a tablespoon in, love. All right.
Crazy.
Go for it, Jane. Live on the wild side.
Yeah, that's me. Wild Jane. Jane of the jungle.
Wild Jane.
Sizzling now.
Cordelia added peeling tends to
No, but Jane and I are friends, so she's gonna have a good time with us.
Awesome.
We actually met here in Coos Bay. We did the regular monthly hike that Gene, the librarian at the public library, he does a walking together alone hike once a month. It's actually this Saturday, by the way.
Yeah, I saw
And so if you want to check it out, it's great. Anyway, we met on the very first hike together, and you're supposed to be walking and admiring and just kind of being in your own space. And Jane and I just stayed in the back of the group and just talked the whole time.
So you cheated. So you cheated.
Yes, so we did it quietly. But that's how I knew she was going to be my friend forever. All right, so I'm just peeling that ginger. So again, if you notice, it just goes really quick this way. Another hack. If you clean and freeze your ginger, it's really easy to peel it, and it's also really easy to shred it with like a little cheese shredder. It's so much easier when your ginger's frozen. And it will keep your ginger for at least 2 to 3 months so that you can have more ginger and it doesn't go bad.
Yeah, we freeze our ginger too, and it's really useful.
All right. So Maxine asked whole onion or half. Was that half?
We had a really big onion, so we only did half. If you have a smaller or medium-sized onion, do the whole thing. If you like the onion.
And then she didn't see about buying fresh ginger. How much prepared ginger should she use?
If she has prepared ginger, it's just a taste. So some of the ingredients I'm using tonight are just my preferential ingredients, but on the recipe, I actually put that as an option because you may not like ginger or it might be too spicy for you. So if you didn't get the ginger, it's still gonna not negatively impact the recipe. It's just something that I like adding to my dish. But I do believe I put that in the optional part of the recipe.
So I just use however much you think you might
Exactly.
prefer.
So if you have a ginger paste, or even if you have a ginger powder, you can use that too. That's fine.
And
So
I think you've encouraged Cordelia to use fresh ginger. She said peeling tends to keep me from using fresh, but not anymore.
Oh, good, good. I know it's daunting, isn't it? So what I'm doing now is I'm just slicing it into little thin slices because I find if you want to dice it up, it's easier. So once I do the thin slices, very similar to the garlic, I'm going to just start chopping it.
And I'm sure we're going to end up with a couple tablespoons, maybe.
Yeah, I think the amount that Tim got me was probably about 2 tablespoons or so. So now you don't have to have that much. And like I said, if you want to just add ginger powder, if you want to add ginger paste or no ginger at all, it's still going to be delicious.
Cool. Shoot,
All right.
I accidentally stopped it.
All right. So
It's going to be a part 1 and a part 2 to this.
Yeah, there might be 2 parts on this one. I restarted it right away, so
Yeah.
I just hit the wrong button.
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
It just, you know what it does? It gives the perfect time for someone who needs to like pause and either like catch up or whatever, they'll just be able to like stop and then start the next video.
I'll have to see
I
if
do a
somebody
lot
with
of
the
online programs. So I do a lot. I teach yoga here. If you're in Coos Bay, I do teach yoga at Center of Attention Yoga if you want to, and I do workshops there as well for nervous system regulation. But I also am designing some online programs, and so I do a lot of on the Zoom stuff. So I get it, and it does. So it does the separate. It'll actually do like more than one video, but it'll probably be the perfect intermission time.
Okay.
All right. So
Or maybe somebody could teach me how to put them together.
Yeah. So Tim has been lovingly stirring the stuff for me, which is why you haven't seen that. So if you're not seeing me do that, you just keep checking, making sure that your onions are getting stirred regularly. We're gonna now add the potatoes. Actually, what we're gonna do first? We're gonna add the garlic because I want to get the flavor and that aroma going first.
Okay.
So I have to take a little walk, so I'm just gonna scoop it.
Here I am.
Oh, look at that.
He's coming to you.
All right. Just the garlic for now. We're gonna just quickly stir. Quickly stir that.
So right now, all that's in there is onions, carrots, and garlic.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a very simple recipe.
We like that.
Yeah, super simple. It's not, and it's so good because one of the things I was doing too is I was practicing I was a single mom for a lot of years, so my mantra for many years was, after they grew up and moved out, was I only have one of me to cook for, and now I have my daughter, my youngest one still came back home, and then I have a partner now, and so I've had to learn how to increase my food again. But I find, especially if any of you are having digestive challenges, if you find you're having difficulty when you get gas or upset or any kind of just intestinal issues going on, the more simple you make your food, the easier it is for your body to digest it. So you can still have a lot of flavor with not a lot of ingredients.
No, Julia, we haven't added the potatoes yet. Julia was wondering.
We're going to actually do that right now. So what we did is we added the garlic. We stirred it up just enough to get the aroma going. Now we're going to add the potatoes, and then we're going to add the broth. Okay, he's coming to me. So we're going to add the potatoes.
What's that, Jennifer?
How much broth?
We're going to actually, let me just put this in here, and then I'll let you know. What did you get? Did you have a carton, or do you have, what kind of broth did you grab?
Oh, I have the bullion, paste, the bullion paste. So I was going to make it in hot water while you.
The cartons are usually around 3 to 3.5 cups worth of broth. So if you want to add that to make it more soupy, but if you want it to be more like a thicker kind of pasty kind of curry, then you can add less broth. So it's up to how thick you want it. So we're going to add the broth. That will start to allow the potatoes to start cooking.
Cool.
Well, I think we're with the whole carton, right?
We are going to go with the whole carton because we have people here that are going to be eating it.
We're making a little extra. So maybe 2 cups or so if you don't want it.
If you want it thicker, then you will add less broth. It'll make it a really thick, almost kind of like a pasty type of curry. Also keep in mind, as we're cooking, I'm not putting a lid on it, which means that the broth is going to start to kind of burn off a little bit. So you're going to have less broth. It's going to start to kind of dissipate and steam out.
Cool.
Is that okay in here?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, rice is done. So check your rice if you haven't already. Make sure that it's fully.
Looks good to me.
Looks good to me.
All right, everybody, check their rice if you were on Tara's timer, so to speak.
Yeah, so just double check it. Mine's nice and fluffy, so if you see it's nice and fluffy. Looks good.
Oh,
So you're just gonna let that sit off to the side. Turn off your burners. Let it sit.
there we go. Okay.
Keep the lid on it, and the lid keeps it from drying out. Okay, yeah. So you'll see it's nice and like fluffy and happy.
Cool.
You can know when it's done because it's really fluffy and very light looking. So that's really easy. So from here also, if you have the ginger, go ahead and add your ginger.
Okay.
So now I think everything's in the pot.
Yeah, so everything is in the pot.
All our vegetables are in the pot, I should say. Still have some.
So I am cooking with extra veg because vegetables are delicious. Can I put the broccoli and cauliflower in now?
I would say because they cook really fast, let's wait until maybe about 5 minutes before, before we add the curry, before we add the pumpkin, because you don't want it too mushy. Because
Okay.
and cauliflower will get really, really soft.
Oh yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
What kind of curry did you end up getting? I didn't look. Is it the powder that's sold at the co-op? Is it paste?
So this was a bulk. So there's in the recipe, the regular actually meant non-organic. So what I did is I looked at it and it was much cheaper to buy the bulk curry here. And you actually get more for your buck. And so they had non-organic or organic. And so I just gave you both options based on what you wanted to pay for it.
All right.
And it's any curry. I actually have this really amazing vindaloo curry that we bought. That was the first time I made this recipe, but it's really spicy. So I chose not to, and I don't think you can find that unless you are here and can access the Teas, Tinctures, and Tonics company. They make the vindaloo.
Tara, we have a question about the temperature of the pot. Should that be boiling or?
No, it should be probably like on a simmer. So you don't need it to be boiling. So we don't want to overcook your veggies. We just want to get them soft enough that you can eat them.
So the broth should be simmering.
Simmer, yeah.
Okay.
So like medium high, but not high. We don't want it boiling. We just want it where it kind of has that like nice simmer bubble, but not like a high boil.
Excellent.
So from here.
And I know in terms of the curry, some people are doing curry paste. I mean, this is another thing where we're doing the powder, but people can kind of use their preference.
Exactly. It's
I
not
brought it from the co-op, Tim, all the way to Southern California.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so it can be whatever to keep this recipe for you simple. I just gave you normal being like the yellow curry you normally see in the store.
Mhm.
But you can use any curry mixture that you like. If it's a red curry, it'll be delicious. If it's a green curry, it'll be delicious. It's a yellow curry. It's just more getting the nice, lovely Indian spices or even the Thai spices. And that curry is just that really nice flavor that gives that little kick to your dish.
Totally.
So we're just gonna let it simmer a little bit just till we start getting those potatoes a little bit soft.
Excellent.
Once those potatoes have softened up, then everything's gonna go pretty quickly from there.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions for Tara right now? How's everybody doing?
We haven't put in the coconut milk yet, correct? Until later.
Correct.
I saw a question on the curry, the powder. So it's probably going to be more condensed. So I would start with less on the curry paste and then add as you go to your taste. Because pressed curry dry powder is going to be a little bit less potent than the curry paste. Because it's been sitting in like a type of oil or a type of liquid that allows it to be more like activated already. So it's a little bit more kicked up in the flavor. So just start with maybe a teaspoon and then add from there.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Curry paste can be spicy too.
Yeah, and some curry, I love spice, but I have to remember not everyone does.
Sure.
Not at the level I like. So this is salt and pepper. You want to start adding a little bit of salt and pepper to the dish just so you can start adding some flavor. You don't need to add as much pepper if you have a spicier curry. But the salt we definitely want to add for that nice like kick up because it, excuse me, it actually brings out the flavor of your vegetables.
So how much salt you going to put in there, Tara?
So I'm going to just eyeball it.
Okay.
I'm probably going to put about that much because it's a bigger, so if you can
Looks
see.
like maybe a teaspoon, a little more
It's
than a
probably
teaspoon.
a little over a teaspoon. And then as we taste it, then you can always add more later.
Yeah,
So
cool.
that's
Always
probably
add
about
more.
a little bit over a teaspoon. You don't want to, I kind of err on the side of caution at first because you don't want to over salt it because then that's all you're going to taste.
You can
But when
always
you're-
add salt later.
Exactly.
Okay. Happy, you have to wait.
Want the pepper too?
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of now pepper. Don't need as much.
Teaspoon again, or
No, I would say because you're going to be adding curry. So this is going to be a lot less if you want to see. And again, if you want more spice, add it. But if you're already adding curry, you're going to have some spice. So adding a lot of pepper to it, you're just going to be like burning your throat that way if you're not used to high spices.
So a little bit of pepper.
All right. So we're just going to, I'm sorry, I'm walking back and forth. We're going to stir it.
No worries.
The co-op black pepper, it can be pretty hot. too.
oh really?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
because
good to know.
it's like it's so freshly ground.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's not like the prepackaged stuff. But
And that
Here's
actually,
LP.
That is actually important to know that if you're doing fresh ground pepper, it will be more potent than one that's already pre-ground and sitting in a container.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you use dry spices, they have time to kind of oxidize and they'll become a little less potent tasting, so you can add a little more. But anything that's freshly ground or that is that's in a paste, that's going to have a stronger flavor. So you always want to add a little bit and then add more as you want if you want more flavor. That's just to be on the side of careful or caution.
Cool.
All right, so what I'm going to do is just check it out. Do you have a fork? Fork, yeah. What I'm going to do, so I'm just going to take a fork and I'm just going to poke my potatoes and see if my potatoes are getting soft.
Sounds good.
Paul, someone came to see you. She heard your voice from the bedroom.
Hey, LP, good to see you.
All right, so they're not quite there, so we're just gonna let it simmer. So if you guys have any questions, if I didn't explain something well, then please ask me, I'll re-explain it.
So can I ask, is our final step basically adding the curry, the pumpkin, and coconut?
Yes.
Like thinking ahead, what's our
Thinking
next?
ahead, the final steps are gonna be adding the coconut milk, the pumpkin, the canned pumpkin puree, and also the curry. And the reason why we do that is right now is we just want to get the broth is mainly not only to thin out the paste itself when you're and it's gonna because it's gonna get kind of like a paste, but if you have more broth, it'll make it thinner. But the other thing is we want to get that broth in there to cook those heartier vegetables through so they're soft.
Sure.
That way when you add the rest, you're just gonna add it till it heats through and it's done.
Awesome.
So these are already pureed, they're already milked, they're already ready to go. So everything else, and then this is totally optional, but I wanted and was requested to keep this at an affordable price. At the end, it's totally optional if you happen to have a sweetener of your favorite choosing at home. For the sake of keeping it vegan, we grab some agave nectar. You can use honey. You can use maple syrup, sugar. What we're going to do at the end is maybe add about 1 or 2 tablespoons worth of that if you want. And if not, it will be completely flavorful and delicious. But sometimes if you want that little curry flavor kick, that sweetness actually causes the flavor of the curry to pop more. So that's an option you can do. As a matter of fact, when I was trying to replicate this recipe and get close to it, I noticed that it was really good, but it was almost like something was missing. And then I added a little bit of that. For me, I added a little bit of raw honey, and it was like instantly the curry popped. So that's just a little trick. That's also how you make chai tea, is by actually, or chai, masala chai, because chai actually means tea. So masala chai, which is the mini spice chai. The reason why you add sugar to that is because it makes the spices pop. So that's why we do that. So that's an option for you at the very end. You can decide it. Yes, Jane?
Sorry, I have some chickpeas. I'm not quite sure why I put them in, but I noticed that you put like peas.
Yeah. Okay. So if you want something more hearty, sorry about that. We almost forgot. Chickpeas, peas. Jennifer also had a great one. So these are just a little bit more extra veggies if you want. So when you have frozen peas, I'll throw those in just a minute. Jennifer got herself some cauliflower and broccoli. So those chickpeas will just add a little bit more protein, adds a little bit of heartiness to it, and kind of makes you feel like you have a little bit of kind of like a meatiness to it. So that's why I had those in the recipe, and they're all optional.
And Jennifer G asked, what about white beans?
Yeah, whatever's your favorite. So you can do white beans, black beans, pinto beans, garbanzo beans. We're going to do the frozen peas instead because that's what we have on hand and it's easy. So whatever you want to do, this is a very fluid type of ingredient. The actual ingredients that you want to add when it comes to your veggies is totally whatever your favorite ones are. The only thing that really that you need to follow is just the curry, the pumpkin puree. And even that, if you're not a pumpkin fan and you much rather do, you can actually replace this with sweet potato puree instead. So
Sure.
that would be a great alternative.
Sarah said Sarah's using chickpeas and edamame. That should be good.
Yeah. So you could do, I saw too, some split peas. So yeah, you could do split peas. All of that's great. So this is really kind of just, I'm giving you kind of a base of what I would do. But if you have other veggies or even kind of beans or even tofu for someone, if they don't want to do beans and they want to do tofu, you can do that instead. So this is all kind of what I'm doing is giving a recipe that you can play with and make your own.
Make it your own, as we always say.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Jennifer G said lentils would be good. I bet that would be good.
Lentils are great, but you do have to pre-soak and pre-cook those. Or
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's the only thing is I wanted, for sake of tonight, I wanted to make sure that we had easily prepared. But if you want to do lentils, just make sure they're pre-cooked. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for those to cook. That's all.
Good point.
Whereas the peas will cook very
And the
fast.
peas are gonna, so I'm gonna throw the peas in now because they're frozen, so they cook quickly. And then Jennifer Rodriguez, so for you, just wait until we add the coconut and the pumpkin puree, throw your cauliflower and your broccoli in, maybe do smaller chops of it, and then it'll cook really fast. But still have that like crispiness to it, so it's not mushy.
Cool.
Thank you.
And I can put my chickpeas in now. Oh my garbanzo beans, sorry.
We put our peas in, so I would put your chickpeas.
Yeah, you can do, if you're doing beans, hopefully they're pre-cooked, pre-canned. If they're cooked, not cooked, then probably don't do it tonight. But if they are pre-canned and cooked, then you can throw them in right now. They're not going to get too soft. Beans tend to be pretty hearty and usually hold their shape really well.
Awesome. Cordelia said, love the flexibility of this recipe. Feel like I can take it in so many directions depending on what my kids and I are in the mood for or happen to have on hand. Totally.
Exactly.
Make it your own.
And that's exactly what I did. The first time I did this recipe, I did it with a whole different set of vegetables. And then the second time around, I just basically wanted to do it again. And the only thing I needed to have consistently was my coconut milk, my curry, and my pumpkin, and my broth. Other than that, I just changed up all of the vegetables to something else that was in my fridge already.
Cool.
So you can do whatever you want with that. And then also, if you're not a rice lover, you can make quinoa instead and do it on top of quinoa. So that's another alternative that you can do if you don't like rice or you're trying to watch your sugar levels. Quinoa is a complete protein and you can do that instead.
Totally.
But for the sake of it being more Asian flavored today, I'm doing rice because they don't really use a lot of quinoa in their recipes. So just checking, I'm going to go check your taters. Your carrot can be a little crunchy still. That'll be great. But the potatoes, we want them to be soft.
Sure. Jennifer G also loves the flexibility of the recipe. And Cordelia said this could become a weekly staple.
Nice.
And she loves pumpkin, always has it on hand. So perfect.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, so it's funny because when
she's been using it as a main ingredient in pasta sauce.
You can. So when Paul asked me to do this recipe originally, I was going to do another one that I had found years ago in a cookbook that I kind of made my own. But funny enough, both of the recipes I picked for this month and next month are ones that I made up off the top of my head. And both of those were actually very inexpensive and affordable. So what I encourage you to do is to get creative and artistic and make things up. Just think about like what goes good together and throw it together and experiment. Worst case scenario, it doesn't go over well and your dog will eat it. Or maybe you have a neighbor that you want to give it to. Do we have a can opener?
Yes.
Maybe don't give your dog too much right off the bat.
No, yeah, be careful, especially with the pumpkin curry, because it's not the reason why I get them diarrhea before we eat is because it really cleans you out. So that's why.
Those spices probably would contribute to that too.
We're gonna add our pumpkin puree. Don't mind that. Our cameraman is just knocking things over. He's okay though. Okay, so we're gonna take this and add this to our pan. So your pumpkin puree, just take it all out and put it in there.
And you're just putting one can in, right, Tara?
I'm putting. Sorry, I know I have to keep getting off camera. So we're putting one can in the pan.
Perfect. Thank you.
You know what? I wonder if like squash could be a good substitute too, like butternut squash or something.
Butternut squash. Squash
Yeah.
Butternut squash before, and what's the Japanese one that starts with the K? Tim, help me out.
Kombucha.
Those squashes work great.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
You know, those like really lovely like squashes that puree well. So acorn squash, butternut squash, kabocha squash, all of those squashes that you can kind of puree. Those all are perfect for this recipe. It does not have to be pumpkin. This was just something that was available and easy. And at the time that we were discussing this recipe was during the season that pumpkin was popular. So
Yep.
we started talking about this in November.
Awesome. And Ann also said, love the flexibility, hacks, and tips. Great recipe.
Cool. The pumpkin is thickening it up, which is really nice.
All right. I don't know if we can bring it closer.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to try and bring the camera closer so you can see what I'm doing.
Oh, the camera.
Or
Let's do
whatever,
it.
whatever we're doing.
Let's
Just so
bring
you
the
can see,
camera.
because I'm going to probably stay over
Cool.
here.
If you get motion sickness, look away right now.
So you just going to add the coconut milk like it is?
Yeah, so already, as you can see, the curry and, the broth and the pumpkin together are already thickened up. So
Nice.
the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the coconut milk. Now this is pretty big because it was just separated, but
Yeah.
it'll go together. So you might want to possibly, if you can, just make sure that it's well mixed, but if not, it'll mix together. It's fine. This is just really yummy because it's actually a really like full fat and coconut milk. And personally, as a health coach, I'm actually a big proponent that we don't make things fat free if it's really healthy for you, because the good fats are actually what cause you to feel saturated or satiated. It actually causes you to eat less because you feel full longer and you feel full faster.
Cool.
And good fats are actually good for your skin. That's how I look. That's how I'm 50 and look like I'm 20.
Also good for your brain function.
Super good for your brain function. And for all of you ladies that are either perimenopausal or postmenopausal, this is really good. We need those fats. That actually helps regulate our hormones.
Cool.
So
I
that
haven't
little,
added the curry yet. No, the curry paste. No, not yet.
yeah, we're gonna add that in a moment. So I just wanted to get that in. So if you can see, it's kind of making this really nice, lovely kind of soup. Now, again, if you wanted it to be more thick, you would just add less broth.
Yeah. So we just added the pumpkin puree and the coconut milk, and we're about to get into the curry.
Now I'm gonna just do it hand recipe, but you can measure it out. So if you want to be careful, I would start with just 1 tablespoon and go from there. So I'm gonna mix it in first, and then I'm probably gonna give it a little taste test
Cool.
and see if we need to add more.
Yeah, this is really where personal preference can come in. If you
Yes.
put a tablespoon in, you can taste it. You can add
So
more.
Tara, Julia was asking, what can I do to thicken this? And she was asking, should I use cornstarch?
You can, but honestly, if you just let it cook a little longer, or if you don't like how thin it is, you can add, in the future, you can add more pumpkin puree. But if you have cornstarch, tapioca starch, potato starch, any of those starches, you can add it to thicken a little bit if you're finding this is too liquidy for you.
Okay.
I also think that, yeah, if you let it cook more, and once you put it over rice, I mean, the rice is going to soak it all up.
Yeah,
It's gonna-
so, and that's why I did that with a little bit more soupy tonight. Normally I'll make it a little thicker, but then it actually gets super thick when it sits overnight. So from here, I'm only gonna do it once. So at home, you can dip your spoon as many times as you want, but since I'm actually feeding other people, I'm only gonna do it once.
We have more spoons if we need.
Yes.
That's true. Oh, that's actually.
Nice.
Do you want to take a little flavor? So I'm going to add a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper to taste, because I think I would like more.
Are you asking me to taste it? I would love to taste. Yes.
Go for it.
My curry is actually really lovely in that right now.
My curry paste in.
Curry paste.
Yeah.
Is it great? Do you want a little bit more salt or pepper, or does it feel good to you?
It feels good to me.
Okay, so he likes it that way, and I'm going to feed it to them. So I'm going to let him decide that. So if you want it a little bit more salty, then you can, but it's really good. Now, if you do want that next level pop, now we're going to add a little bit of sweetener. If you don't, then leave it the way it is. Not everyone likes the sweet, so honor your taste buds.
I didn't add the curry paste. Are we supposed to add it now?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Okay, if you didn't, I was away over there and I don't know how well the microphone picked up. So if you didn't hear me, add the curry at this time.
And
So make sure it's well mixed and taste it first before you add anything else.
And Tara, Julia was wondering, can you mix red paste and orange curry powder?
Yeah.
Go for it, Julia.
Yeah, this recipe so your recipe for this curry is whatever your favorite curry is. I use the yellow curry because that's what's here. But if you have a red curry, if you have a green curry, you can add that. It's still going to be amazing. And it might even give it another depth of flavor that will be even better than what we made tonight.
Awesome.
So play with it. Have fun with it.
And Sarah said she added extra pumpkin to thicken and it tastes great. And she said the sweetener is also great.
Yes. Nice. So extra pumpkin will thicken it up. And I was going to suggest that, but I didn't know how many bought more than just one can. If you have more pumpkin, add it. That will thicken it up.
Cool. So if you have extra pumpkin, that can thicken it up. I
would start with like 1 or 2 tablespoons. I do a lot of cooking, so my 1 or 2 tablespoons is a good squeeze and a swirl. You play with that or you measure it out if you're not sure. If you want to add the sweetener now to make that curry pop.
And Julia also wanted to know how much coconut sugar.
I would start with a tablespoon.
Start with a tablespoon.
Cool. Yeah, we go from there.
Good questions. Keeping us on our toes here.
All right, sir. Take that out and tell me what you think.
Yes.
The thing about this too is it might be soupy now, but once it actually sits overnight, because you will have leftovers unless you're starving, it will thicken up overnight. If you made it with less broth and it is thicker already, just know that the next day it'll probably be even thicker, but that's fine. You can always add a little broth to warm it up and thin it out.
Makes sense.
The next day.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the sweetness.
Isn't that
it's
it?
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but it's not too sweet though?
It doesn't taste sweet.
Cool.
It just makes it pop. It's just, you just add enough that it actually makes the flavor of the curry pop.
Awesome.
So that's why I do that. And then it made it more authentically flavored, similar to the one I used to get in California.
Nice.
Cool. I think that's everything, right?
So that is it. Now, your next step is to get yourself a bowl. Add your rice to your bowl.
Okay.
That's fine. It'll just be more runny. All right, so we're gonna take our rice. So good. And dish up the rice. Are you gonna have some, Alan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Feed the crew.
That's right.
We've been torturing them with these smells for about an hour now, so I'm sure they're hungry.
Oh, just one plate? Okay. All right. So we're doing one plate, so I'm just gonna pile it up. And then, do you have like a ladle? Yeah. So
a ladle.
I need a ladle or something that you can like scoop.
A ladle.
Nice.
Okay.
And of course, turn off your oven, your stove.
This is one of my favorite kind of meals, actually, like a curry over rice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's hard to go wrong with curry and rice.
Ooh. We need to get an overhead of this, Alan.
Yeah, that's good.
Alan's taking pictures in case you're wondering why
Okay, he's gonna do over the thingy so you can see the finished product. If we were being professional, then we will take it, but we're not. So all right, so we're gonna show you that our finished product. Now, if you want it to be more soupy and add more, then just put it in a bowl.
Nice. That looks yummy.
Yeah.
Yum.
All right, and we're gonna have him do the taste test.
Oh,
awesome.
it's hot.
Yeah, so if you did not turn off your stove at this time, make sure everything's off so nothing's continually cooking or burning.
Delicious. Yeah, it's so good.
Awesome.
And that is it.
And Jennifer said, thank you with these hands and GTG, but I don't know what that means.
Got to go.
Got to go.
Oh, yes, please go eat if you're finished.
So if she didn't already, make sure she adds her.
Yeah, if you guys need to eat, go eat. And please send me pictures of your completed meals. You have my email in your Zoom confirmations. And
I'm going to be teaching next month, so if there's anything you wish I would have included or explained better, please give Paul feedback because I will take that into the next month and even do a better job for you next month based on what you were needing.
Yeah, we'll share all that with Tara. So just
Yeah,
feed me
so
any
please do. Don't
feedback.
be afraid. I
It-
take
but-
all feedback with the total grace and I welcome it. I always love to improve and do better for all of you so that you have a great time as much as I am.
Awesome. Well, we're getting a lot of thank yous. Was fun and yummy. More
Everybody.
thank you so much. I think people really, this was a hit.
Everyone, there's a cute little kitty on the screen if you can see him.
Oh, that's Tiger Lily.
Okay,
Oh.
right. All right, that's it. Thank you guys. It was great. It was
And
fun.
Tara, one thing I forgot to mention is we have a no cook left behind philosophy here at Community Cooking. So we have to make sure check in with everybody and make sure they're doing all right.
Yes. Okay. So if anyone is still doing it, you need help. If you
How's
have any
everybody doing with
questions-
the recipe?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Sure.
what's that, Christina?
My problem is that I'm not a big fan of coconut milk, and what do I do? I mean, I put in
So
half
if
the
you do not like coconut milk, you can actually. Do you have a blender?
yeah.
So in the future, if you don't like coconut milk, the next one that's a nice thick milk that I would totally invite you to make at home, you can actually make your own cashew milk. So you would take a cup of cashews and soak them for a minimum of 4 hours, and then rinse them off, throw 4 cups of water with 1 cup of soaked cashews in a blender, blend it, and then if you wanted a tiny bit of sweetener to it, you can always add a little bit of maple syrup, but otherwise, that's it. That would be your cashew milk, and then you can add that instead.
Okay, it's just a flavor that it might be the brand of coconut milk that I bought or something.
It might be, but also cashew has a really nice neutral flavor. It's really wonderful to use in place of coconut milk. It's also one you can use for cream bases. I actually make an Alfredo sauce. That's the main ingredient is cashew. And it has this amazing flavor that gives you that creaminess that you're looking for without the coconut flavor.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I don't like to do is I don't like to smash garlic
Okay.
with my knife. So what I do is I use the bottom end of the coconut milk and use the can.
There you
That's
go.
really smart. That's really smart. So you can also, for some people, if you don't mind, you can put it in an empty jar that has some space with a lid and shake it, and that'll help to shell it too. But
Well,
just do whatever when it comes to smashing garlic, smash it however you like to do best so that you are happy and you don't injure yourself.
Totally.
I've done it.
slapping my kitchen knife is not on my list.
Yeah.
No problem. That's a great hack. So if anyone didn't know that, you can smash it with the can instead.
That'll work.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
questions,
thank you.
Christina. And Christina, I don't know what coconut milks you've tried, but I just made a soup with that coconut milk they're using from the co-op, and it's like a really affordable organic
It's
brand. Was
very
it
affordable.
Simple Day? Is it, Tim?
Field day.
Field Day. That's right.
Very affordable.
But I liked that one better with this soup my wife makes than the one we had used previously from another establishment.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you
the
might
last-
want to try the Field Day.
The last time I made something with coconut milk, it turned out fine, but today's coconut milk just tasted
It's probably the brand you're using then, because not all coconut milks are created equal, and there will be some that are definitely more strong in coconut flavor, and other ones that'll be more neutral. And so this one that we used at the co-op, it was pretty neutral tasting.
Yeah.
The Thai coconut, it's called Thai brand. They also are a really good one that don't have a strong coconut flavor.
okay.
Cool.
All righty. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Oh yeah,
You're
good
welcome.
question. Thank you. And
Bye.
Patricia said, "Thank you so much. Love the idea of being able to switch some of the food out." She also said, "Love the bit about the lady asking because she's allergic to coconut milk, so she has to change that one out." So yeah, you can always do the.
If you guys want, I'll include that recipe on how to make cashew milk for you if you want. If you don't have milk, clearly if you don't have nut allergies, I can give you that. Or there's also hemp seeds. So it's just giving you a creamy milk of some kind, and you can make your own milks at home. So you don't have to do it. It's just that coconut is a thicker, more fatty type of milk. So cashew would be the next really good substitute for it. And then if you wanted to do something else, you can always do maybe a hemp milk, but it will taste different, but it won't be as thick is the difference.
Cool.
So if you do that, then I would add more puree to make it thicker because your milk will be thinner.
Awesome. Great. Anybody have any last minute questions before we let y'all eat? Does anybody need help finishing the meal at this point?
Mine's spicy.
Is it good? So those that I see eating in the background, how are you enjoying it? Yes. Okay, good. Good.
Thumbs up and praying hands. That's good.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you all being here.
Yes. Thanks, everyone. And I think with that, I'm going to let you guys. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining us again. I'm going to let you all go and enjoy your meals.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I'm already receiving emails. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Tara. Good job, girl.
Thanks.